Hello guys and welcome back. Today I'll be starting a new save with Wrexham from the 5th tier of English football. Wrexham is originally placed in Wales, but they play under the English divisions in Football Manager, which in my eyes makes them a fun team to play with because you can work your way up towards the divisions and eventually you can land in the Premier League, which is the goal for this series of saves I'm gonna make with Wrexham. So the first thing I do when I take over a new club is always go to the board and look here at the especially for lower LLM clubs. You look at what is your feeder clubs and do you have a mother club. In this particular case, I've got Liverpool as my mother club, and then I've got a few other feeder clubs that I can loan my players out to. Also, I take a look at my finances up here, the budget adjustment. I can see that I've got a transfer budget, it's in Danish crowns by the way, and I've got a wage budget. That's nice. That's very cool. Again, I'll look down here at my staff section. Can I recruit any personnel, any staff, or am I full in that regard? I can see here that I can actually go and get more staff members. So I've got room to work with. I've got things that I can optimize already now. That's brilliant. The next thing I do, I usually go into the let's see here in English, not the schedule. I go into the where is it? The mathematical computations. Nah, let's see where it is. Not the scouting either. Normally I play with normally I play in another language setting, so I just need to get these terms. There we go. The staff room, and I go into responsibilities. I take a look at what I want to do and what I should let my assistants or other staff do. Especially when it comes to especially if you have got a director of football, which I haven't. That's nice. I hate working with directors of football, but if you do have one, it's really important that you go into this section and into responsibilities, and you make sure that what he's responsible of and what you're responsible of. Normally, I don't really touch much of this. I go into the under 80s, and usually I just do it myself. But what you can do is the match training and the individual training for youth players. If you don't want to do it yourself, just put your assistant to do it. Also, I would recommend you guys to make the contract renewals yourself, because you can't end up in a situation where your assistant or whoever does it, director of football, will make some idiotic clause, buyout clause, so you can lose important players. Yeah. Then I will go into the first team, and here it's already ticked. But what I do is I will handle the team talks myself. The tactical briefings, no way, I'm not gonna do that. My assistant can do those. I'll do this myself. The opposition instructions, the press conferences, not bothered about them. And the Davies can have them. New signings, that I will do. The tunnel interviews, not bothered either. And the Davies can do them. And manage friendly matches. Normally, I usually do those myself, but I'm gonna arrange so many friendlies, and these lower divisions, they have so many games, so honestly I'm just gonna let my assistant to do them as well. Usually if I have like a couple of tactics in mind, 2 to 3 tactics, I play the friendlies myself, and I try each of these 3 tactics and one tactic per game, and I try different variations of it. But I'm pretty confident in almost all the tactics that I play with. And again, this is lower league. Um, you haven't got a lot of attributes to work with, so all players are kind of similar in skill level. So it doesn't make that much of a difference. Only thing I do know is in lower league, I love to play with two strikers. Um, I don't really like to rely on one striker when their stats or attributes aren't better. So I like to rely on two strikers up front, and trust me, the opposition's defense is gonna make so many mistakes. So two strikers, they will they will capitalize on that, hopefully. So yes, this is what I do normally, and confirm. Um, let's see. Next thing I do, I have for those of you who's curious, this skin that I'm using, it's just the normal skin, just the Football Manager Dark version, and then I've gone into the interface, skin colors, and all attributes above 15 I've made like extremely green, and all attributes below 6 they're just red. So it just makes it nicer for me to look at. So when I go into, let's say, Leo Smith, you can see that our penalty taken, long throws, leadership, that's what he's bad at. And if he had something above 15, let's just say David De Gea, you can see here, oh, okay, he's exceptional in these places, and he's bad, yeah. Just makes it easy to look at. Okay, first thing I do always, I go into the under 18 squad, see what I have to work with. Okay, I've got nothing, and somehow I don't have a reserve squad or under 21 squad. If I had that, I would have gone in there, and I would have clicked on reports, and I would have looked at all with 3 stars in current ability. I would have brought them up to the first team, because ideally they are good enough to play at the first team. Okay, I'm not sure about the tactics yet. I know that I want to play 2 strikers. I know nothing else. So I'll have to look at the squad in order to see what I have to work with. So yeah, I'll just put it like this: 2 wingers, defensive midfield, like this. Yeah. So we'll go into the team report, squad depth, and we'll see here. Okay, 5 keepers, 3-star keeper, and oh, we got a decent left back, 2 decent central defenders, decent right back. We've got at least 1 decent central midfielder. Central midfield looks okay actually. 1 decent right winger. We are lackluster on the left winger. We've got 1 decent striker. We need. Okay, so right off the bat, I want another striker. I want to look at the left winger, and I want to look at a new central mid is actually decent. So another central defender maybe. Doesn't look too good down here either. So left winger, striker, central defender. Right off the bat, I can tell you that I want to look at. I did tell you before that I had a budget, but in these, as you can see here, scouting in FM18, it now costs you money to scout. So I would have to spend 2 million to open the world package, and I don't even think my scouts they can scout outside of England. So it would be too costly. So it doesn't make any sense for me to buy another package here or here. I should even close it maybe, because I'm better off saving the money. But what I will do is, instead of scouting people or players, and I want to tell you this, that the scouting in this version of the game has become extremely, I like the way they're going with it, and it's become more realistic. You can't just like go into your, as you used to go into the world, and You can't just go into the world and transfers and go in here and say youth intake and just scout each and every man. Like before, when you had the youth intake from all clubs, you could scout 2,000, 5,000 players and have 2 to 5,000 reports, add them all to your wish list, and bam, that was it. Doesn't work like that. Doesn't work like that anymore, and I like it. It also takes a longer time for your report to come in. Of course, you can. I think you can assign that actually. Let's see. Preferences. Yeah, you can assign that monthly, weekly, daily even. So if you want it often. Um, I don't know what I think about this recommendation page. I'm a bit split. Yeah, I'm a bit split about it, but overall, I like the new scouting system in this version of the game. Um, but what I will do is I will go and I will use the player search tool, and I will search for players that I can put on trial. That means either players on loan or players on a free transfer that I can trial in my club. So I'm gonna use trialing a lot this game, this version, which many clubs at this level do, anyways, in the real life, in the real world. So it makes sense for me. Um, but back to the squad. So first off, I want to have a closer look at my defense, because when I make my tactic, I want a nice foundation based on the defense, because if my strikers, I can't rely on my strikers to score 4 to 5 goals every game. They'll my strikers, my offensive line will come into it will happen that they go into not a crisis but into a few games without producing as many goals as I want them to. So it's nice to rely on like a solid defense, so you can at least pull 1 point home if you're struggling to score. And that's sort of my ideology. So what I do is I've downloaded these. Let's see, these custom on Steam community. You can download these custom. What are they called now? Views. So always I have this defend view, and upon judging any player actually, I have this. It's called the DNA by other YouTubers. I don't know what I call it, but determination is for me, well, perhaps the most important stat of all of them. Um, Basically, determination is influencing, well, have influenced their personality. Well, a major part of it. Of course, players have these invisible stats as well, which influence the personality. But as we know, determination is the only stat that directly have influence on the personality. And if I've got players that are either lazy or unambitious or um, something negative, I cannot use them. Plain and simple. I will and can't use them. I want a determined squad. I want a professional squad. And I want a squad that's in correlation altogether. So, so for me, determination is important in many aspects, both in training, outside the games, and on the pitch. Determination also tells me whether a player is willing to commit and do the and running back home to defend, or if they are willing to step up in times where it's really needed. So this player, for instance, this guy down here, Griffiths, he's not the guy that I would count on if we're on a bad streak. He would just give up. He would just be like, I don't care, I'm out of here, as the first guy. Whereas this guy here, Sean Pearson, he's a guy that I can rely on. He's also a leader, as you can see. So yeah, I take a look at determination, concentration, anticipation, and positioning. Positioning is for me one of the best defensive attribute that you can have, because you can be um, you can be good at marking, you can be good at heading, you can be good at tackling, but if if your position is bad, you will uh, you will let in so many goals. You would be constantly struggling behind the opponent, and I cannot work with that. So position for me for defensive players, most important stat. Um, yes, of course, concentration. But one stat that I see for me many people underestimate is decision making, decisions. For me, around 10 decisions. Well, I don't mind, but the higher the number, the better, of course. I In so many games, I see players like you see Wonder Kids coming through with amazing technical attributes, amazing physical attributes, decent enough mental stats, but then they have five indecisions, and you wonder why they keep shooting from stupid angles, but passing the ball in the little box and stuff like that. That's because their decisions slow, basically. So back to the defensive line. I want defenders with at least when I'm playing the Premiership, I want at least 15, minimum 15 in all of this, plus decisions. But I know we're in the lower league now, so I can't be as picky as in the Premiership. But then I would go into the team report, I'll look at the comparison, I'll go to mental, and I'll look at, okay, how is my team compared to the rest in the Vanarama National League? As you can see, we are below average in determination, we are below average in composure, below average in anticipation, aggression, teamwork, off the ball positioning, we are exactly on average. So what I'm searching for, I want a defender who is determined, who's got good anticipation, and who is good at teamwork. Those are the three. That is what we are lacking. So that is what I want right now, especially a determined defender. Um, I can also do like this and see how our defense again. This is only for defense, and teamwork is actually the lowest together with bravery. So I want brave defenders also, and defenders who are working together. And I do this procedure with all of my players, so I know exactly what I'm looking for and what tactic I want to play. Um, Another thing here at the lower leagues, all players they are similar in skill level. They are similar at um, like I mean, it's rare that you find a player with extraordinary talent here. Some players will perform well. Normally, I don't even look at the technical attributes. Like, I don't even look at Sean Pearson and say, oh, he's a good header. What I look at is the mental attributes and the physical attributes. I want players who are willing to commit. So, in other words, I want determined players, and I'm gonna base my tactic off of that. And also, I'm gonna build my tactics around what players I'm able to sign and loan, of course. So I can't tell you yet what tactic I will play, but this is just an introduction of my thoughts around playing with Wrexham and going forward. Another thing I'll look a lot into is how my board wants me to perform. I think that well, it's a mistake that I've done previously is I've totally ignored it. So let's say that I once I played with Chelsea, and I just wanted to use all their young talent that they have from their reserve squads and use them. But I didn't see that Chelsea they wanted me to go and buy big players every summer. They wanted me to use money on big stars. So I got judged on that, and I actually ended up getting fired because I didn't buy big players. I used my own talents and tried to develop them. So always make sure that you're working together with your squad, you're on the same page. So yeah, what I will do is in the next episode I will talk to my board, and I will try and get through that. I want to develop youngsters for the first team, and also I want to sign or buy young players that can play the first team, and I will also try and play some sort of offensive football. I like being offensive. I like having ball possession and stuff like that. So I'll try to get those things through. But guys, thanks for watching, and I'll bring a new episode soon.